What if the very pill you take for sleep, pain, or allergies was quietly shrinking your brain? It sounds unthinkable, but new research is sounding the alarm. Some of the most trusted medications among seniors may actually be accelerating memory loss, confusion, and even full-blown dementia. Not after years, but in as little as 3 months. Every day, millions of older adults are prescribed medications believed to be safe. But studies now show that up to 9 common drugs, from sleep aids to heartburn pills, may be silently triggering cognitive decline. In this video, we're uncovering the truth. You'll hear real stories from seniors who were affected, learn the scientific reasons behind the damage, and discover exactly what questions to ask your doctor before it's too late. This isn't meant to scare you, it's here to protect you and those you love. Let's begin. Number 1. Opioids. Let's start with one of the most widely used and misunderstood classes of medications among seniors: opioids. Drugs like oxycodone, hydrocodone, morphine, fentanyl, and Vicodin are often prescribed for post-surgical pain, injuries, or chronic conditions like arthritis. At first glance, they seem like a lifeline, offering fast, effective relief from debilitating pain. But what many people don't realize is that opioids come with a silent cost that often goes unnoticed. They can quietly impair the brain. These medications work by suppressing the brain's pain and reward centers, dulling both physical discomfort and emotional responses. While this might sound helpful, over time, opioids also interfere with critical communication pathways in the brain, particularly the white matter, which connects and coordinates different brain regions. When white matter is damaged or slowed down, thinking becomes less clear, memory fades more quickly, and emotional responsiveness begins to flatten. This isn't just speculation. Multiple studies have confirmed that long-term opioid use can lead to a 40% faster decline in memory and attention. The effects often start subtly. A person may begin to lose their train of thought more often, forget where they placed familiar items, or struggle to follow conversations. These changes are easy to chalk up to aging, but they may, in fact, be signs of something deeper. Over time, the brain adapts to constant opioid exposure by downregulating key neural pathways. In simple terms, the brain slows down and begins to function in a chronically sedated state. This can lead to emotional dullness, increased confusion, and eventually more serious cognitive impairments. Perhaps most concerning is how frequently opioids are prescribed to seniors, often without a long-term exit plan. What begins as a temporary solution for pain can slowly evolve into a daily habit with devastating effects on brain health. And because the symptoms creep in gradually, they often go unrecognized until significant cognitive damage has already occurred. It's time we look beyond the pain relief and ask the harder question: what is this medication doing to the brain? As one neurologist warns, opioids numb more than pain, they can numb the mind itself. And for seniors trying to protect their memory and independence, that's a risk too great to ignore. Number 2. Benzodiazepines. Now let's talk about a class of drugs that many seniors are prescribed without fully understanding the long-term effects: benzodiazepines. These include well-known names like Valium, Ativan, Xanax, Klonopin, and Restoril, medications commonly given for anxiety, insomnia, or agitation. For someone going through stress, grief, or sleepless nights, they can seem like a quick, comforting solution. They calm the nerves, ease tension, and help you sleep. But beneath that calm lies a hidden and dangerous effect on the brain. Benzodiazepines work by suppressing brain activity across the board, not just the areas responsible for anxiety or panic, but also the centers that control memory, focus, and alertness. Over time, this broad suppression takes a toll. The brain begins to shrink, literally. Studies show that chronic use of these drugs leads to neuron shrinkage, impaired memory, and increased confusion. And these changes don't always reverse. even after stopping the medication. The emotional impact can be heartbreaking. A person who once remembered every birthday or grandchild's name may suddenly begin forgetting familiar faces. They may feel disconnected from the world, caught in a fog that doesn't lift. Loved ones often describe them as not quite themselves anymore. It's not just forgetfulness, it's the slow erosion of the mind's sharpness, the fading of clarity, personality, and confidence. The risk is not small. Research shows that long-term use of benzodiazepines is linked to a 32% to 80% higher risk of dementia, depending on the dose and duration. That's a staggering statistic, especially considering how casually these drugs are still prescribed, often for months or even years. And here's the hardest truth: while these medications may offer short-term relief, they may be quietly taking away your long-term mental independence. That's something every senior, and every caregiver, needs to understand. As one expert put it best, these pills may quiet anxiety, but they also quiet your mind's ability to remember. When it comes to brain health in your later years, peace of mind should never come at the cost of losing your mind. Number 3, muscle relaxants. Next, we turn to a category of drugs that might seem harmless, even helpful, after a long day of aches and muscle tension: muscle relaxants. These include familiar names like cyclobenzaprine, Flexeril, methocarbamol, and tizanidine, Xanaflex. Often prescribed for back pain, neck stiffness, or muscle spasms, they promise relief and rest. But for older adults, these medications may be doing something far more damaging beneath the surface. Muscle relaxants work by slowing down the central nervous system, essentially telling your brain and body to calm down and relax. While this can ease tension and provide short-term comfort, the broader effect is a significant reduction in brain activity. And that's where the problem begins. In seniors, the sedating effects hit harder. The result? Slowed thinking, delayed reaction times, confusion, and impaired decision-making. What feels like peace and quiet on the outside may actually be the brain struggling to stay sharp on the inside. The real concern lies in long-term use. Over time, the brain can become accustomed to operating in this dulled state. It starts to rely on the medication to regulate activity, and eventually, it loses the ability to function at full capacity on its own. Studies have found that long-term use of muscle relaxants increases the risk of dementia by 36%, a risk that most people are never warned about when these drugs are first prescribed. Emotionally, this slow decline can be devastating. Imagine being a person who once felt in control, mentally alert, and independent, only to suddenly find yourself struggling to recall names, misplacing items, or feeling mentally off. What began as a solution for physical pain becomes a quiet assault on your mental clarity. And what's especially troubling is how casually these drugs are handed out, often with no discussion about cognitive side effects. For seniors trying to protect their memory and stay sharp as they age, this lack of warning can lead to irreversible consequences. As one neurologist put it, sedation may feel like rest, but for seniors, it may be cognitive erosion. It's a reminder that not all relief is harmless, and that when it comes to brain health, we must look beyond the surface and protect what truly matters. Number 4, first-generation antihistamines. Now let's talk about a group of medications that many people assume are completely safe, because they're sold over the counter, used for decades, and even recommended for sleep. We're talking about first-generation antihistamines like Benadryl, Unisom, chlortrimton, and hydroxyzine. Whether it's seasonal allergies, a cold, or trouble falling asleep, these medications are often the go-to remedy for quick relief. But for seniors, they may carry a hidden and serious risk, one that affects not the nose, but the brain. These medications work by blocking acetylcholine, a vital brain chemical that helps us learn, focus, and form memories. Unfortunately, acetylcholine levels naturally decline with age. So when seniors take antihistamines that further reduce this critical neurotransmitter, the brain can struggle to keep up. The result? A faster and more pronounced decline in cognitive function. Daily use of these medications, even in small doses, has been associated with a 54% higher risk of developing dementia, according to multiple studies. That's a shocking number, especially considering how freely these drugs are sold in pharmacies and how often they're taken at bedtime for sleep support, without any awareness of the long-term effects. What makes it even more concerning is how subtle the decline can be. A senior may begin repeating questions, forgetting appointments, or misplacing everyday items. It's easy to dismiss these changes as just getting older, when in fact, they could be signs of chemically induced memory loss, brought on by what seemed like a simple allergy pill. Emotionally, this type of cognitive erosion can be frustrating and frightening. For the person affected, it might feel like their brain is constantly in a fog. For family members, it can be heartbreaking to watch a loved one gradually lose touch with who they once were, and all because of a medication they thought was completely safe. This is why awareness matters. The brain is delicate, especially as we age, and every substance we put into our bodies makes a difference, even something as routine as an antihistamine. As experts now warn, that harmless allergy pill may be slowly stealing your memory. If you or a loved one are taking these regularly, it may be time to reconsider, and ask your doctor about safer alternatives that protect both your body and your mind. Number 5. Sleep medications. Now let's look at a group of medications that many seniors rely on night after night, sleep medications like Ambien, Lunesta, Sonata, and Doxepin, Silenior. When you're lying awake at 3 a.m., tossing and turning, the promise of a full night's rest can feel like a lifeline. And these drugs often seem like the only answer. But the truth is, while they may help you fall asleep, they can also be quietly damaging your brain, especially over time. These medications work by sedating the brain, but in doing so, they disrupt slow-wave sleep, the deep, restorative phase of sleep that's essential for memory formation and brain detoxification. During slow-wave sleep, the brain clears out waste, repairs neurons, and consolidates information from the day. When that process is interrupted night after night, the brain can't function at its best, and over time, it begins to decline. Studies have shown that seniors who use sleep medications multiple times per week face a significantly higher risk of developing dementia. The issue isn't just about being sedated, it's about what that sedation does to your brain's ability to heal, process, and protect itself. These medications can alter natural brain wave activity, dull mental sharpness, and accelerate the very neurodegeneration they're meant to help you avoid. Emotionally, the effects can be confusing and distressing. You may feel like you're getting enough rest, but still struggle with memory lapses, cloudy thinking, or a general sense of mental fatigue. You might wonder, why do I still feel so off? The answer could be that your brain isn't resting, it's being artificially shut down, night after night. And that's a cost many seniors aren't warned about. Because while sleep is essential, artificial sleep isn't the same as natural sleep, and when the brain's ability to restore itself is taken away, the damage can add up quickly. As one leading sleep expert put it, these pills put you to sleep, but they may also be putting your brain to sleep permanently. Before reaching for another sleep aid, ask, is this helping my rest, or quietly harming my mind? Because true rest should heal you, not hurt you. Number 6. Statins. Now we come to a group of medications that are often praised for protecting heart health, but may be quietly harming the brain, statins. These drugs, including Lipitor, Crestor, Zocor, Pravachol, and Mevacor, are prescribed to lower cholesterol and reduce the risk of heart attacks and strokes. While they've saved countless lives by managing cardiovascular risk, new research is showing that high-dose or long-term statin use in seniors may come with serious cognitive consequences. Here's why. Statins don't just reduce cholesterol in the blood, they can also reduce cholesterol in the brain, where it's essential for maintaining healthy neuron connections. Cholesterol is a critical building block for the brain. Neurons rely on it to form synapses, the tiny bridges that allow your thoughts, memories, and emotions to flow. When cholesterol levels drop too low, these bridges begin to break down, leading to slowed thinking, memory lapses, and confusion. In addition, statins have been shown to deplete coenzyme Q10, CoQ10, a vital nutrient that fuels energy production in brain cells. Without enough CoQ10, neurons struggle to function, repair themselves, and communicate, which may explain why many seniors report increased brain fog or forgetfulness after starting statins. Scientific studies support these concerns. One major study reported a 58% increase in memory problems among long-term statin users, particularly those on high doses. And yet, these medications are still prescribed regularly to seniors, sometimes without any mention of the potential neurological risks. This doesn't mean statins are inherently bad, they have a valuable role in heart care. But it does mean that seniors need to approach them with caution and ask the right questions. Is the dose appropriate for your age? Are there alternatives? Are your memory concerns being taken seriously? Emotionally, the impact of statin-induced memory decline can be frightening. You may feel like you're losing parts of yourself, struggling to find the right words, forgetting familiar names, or feeling mentally distant. And because the change is often gradual, it can go unnoticed until the damage is already done. As one neurologist explained it best, too little cholesterol in the brain can mean too little connection between your thoughts. In other words, protecting your heart should never come at the cost of losing your mind. Number 7. Proton pump inhibitors, PPIs. Let's talk about a class of drugs that many seniors take daily without a second thought: proton pump inhibitors, or PPIs. These include familiar names like Prilosec, Nexium, and Protonix, often prescribed for acid reflux, heartburn, or GERD. They're marketed as safe and effective, and for short-term use, they often are. But when taken consistently over months or years, as many seniors do, these medications can have serious consequences for brain health. Here's why. PPIs work by reducing the amount of acid your stomach produces. But this also means they interfere with the body's ability to absorb vital nutrients, especially vitamin B12, which is absolutely essential for brain function, memory, and nerve health. Low B12 levels can lead to fatigue, confusion, mental fog, and, over time, permanent cognitive decline. But that's not all. PPIs also disrupt the delicate balance of bacteria in your gut. And research has shown that the gut and brain are closely connected through what's called the gut-brain axis. When gut health is compromised, it can lead to chronic inflammation, mood changes, and memory problems. In fact, long-term PPI use has been linked to a 44% higher risk of dementia, particularly in older adults. What makes this so concerning is that these medications are often used far beyond their intended short-term purpose. Many seniors take them for years, sometimes without realizing there are safer alternatives, or without reevaluating whether they're still necessary. Meanwhile, the brain may be suffering silently from nutrient deficiencies, increased inflammation, and poor neural communication. For seniors already experiencing occasional forgetfulness or brain fog, these effects can compound and accelerate decline. What starts as just a pill for heartburn could be contributing to something much more serious. So if you're taking a PPI daily, it's worth having a conversation with your doctor. Ask about checking your B12 levels. Ask if there are non-drug solutions to manage reflux, like diet or lifestyle changes. Because as one expert insightfully put it, your gut talks to your brain, and PPIs might be jamming that signal. Protect your digestion, but protect your memory, too. They're more connected than you might think. Number 8. Antipsychotics. Now let's talk about a powerful class of medications often used in the most vulnerable group of seniors, those already struggling with memory, behavior changes, or dementia. These are antipsychotic drugs, including Risperdal, Seroquel, Zyprexa, and Haldol. Originally developed for serious mental illnesses like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, these medications are now frequently prescribed to seniors to manage agitation, aggression, and sleep disturbances, especially in dementia care settings. But what many don't realize is that these medications can do far more harm than good when it comes to protecting the aging brain. Antipsychotics work by blocking dopamine, a brain chemical essential for learning, motivation, emotional regulation, and focus. Dopamine plays a central role in how we process new information and maintain mental clarity. When it's suppressed, especially in older adults, the result can be blunted thinking, emotional dullness, and a dramatic decline in cognitive function. Even more alarming, recent research has linked antipsychotic use to actual brain shrinkage, particularly in areas responsible for memory, reasoning, and decision-making. That means these drugs are not just sedating seniors, they're potentially accelerating the very brain deterioration they're supposed to help manage. These medications are often used to calm down individuals who are anxious, restless, or confused. And while that may provide short-term relief for caregivers or nursing staff, the long-term consequences for the patient can be devastating. Over time, the sedation becomes more than just quiet behavior, it becomes mental withdrawal, disconnection, and rapid cognitive decline. Imagine someone who's still able to recognize family, engage in conversation, or enjoy music or art, slowly becoming unresponsive, blank, and emotionally detached, not because of the dementia itself, but because of the very medication intended to help. That's the risk we're facing when antipsychotics are used without close monitoring or clear justification. As one researcher powerfully stated, these drugs may silence agitation, but may also accelerate the very decline they aim to manage. Seniors deserve care that supports their dignity and cognition, not treatment that suppresses their spirit or hastens their decline. If you or a loved one is on an antipsychotic, it's time to ask hard questions and demand better, safer options for brain health. Number 9. Tricyclic antidepressants. Finally, let's take a closer look at a group of medications that's been around for decades and is still widely prescribed to seniors: tricyclic antidepressants. These include drugs like amitriptyline, imipramine, and doxepin, often used not just for depression, but also for nerve pain, anxiety, and even sleep problems. While they've helped many people manage difficult symptoms, these medications come with a serious and often overlooked cost. They can significantly impair brain function, especially in older adults. Tricyclic antidepressants work by blocking acetylcholine, one of the brain's most important neurotransmitters for memory, learning, focus, and attention. When this chemical is suppressed, the brain's ability to process new information, recall memories, and stay mentally sharp begins to break down. Seniors, whose acetylcholine levels are already naturally declining, are especially vulnerable. This makes them far more likely to experience confusion, forgetfulness, and cognitive decline, even if the medication was originally prescribed to help them feel better. Studies have shown that long-term use of tricyclic antidepressants is associated with significantly higher rates of dementia, particularly when combined with other medications that also impair memory. And yet, these drugs are still routinely prescribed to seniors, sometimes as a first-line treatment for sleep or chronic pain, without enough discussion about their long-term risks. What's most concerning is how quietly this damage can build. A person might begin by feeling a bit foggy or forgetful, but over time, they may lose track of conversations, forget important events, or even begin showing signs of early dementia. And because this mental decline often happens gradually, it can be difficult to recognize until it's too late to reverse. For many seniors, maintaining independence and mental clarity is one of the most important goals in aging. But the very medication meant to provide comfort or emotional support may be undermining that goal from within. As one expert put it, this older class of antidepressants may be quietly dismantling your ability to think clearly. If you or a loved one is taking one of these medications, especially alongside others that affect memory, now is the time to reevaluate. Safer alternatives exist, and your mind is too valuable to lose without a fight. Can the damage be reversed? Now that we've walked through these 9 common medications and their cognitive risks, the big question is, can the damage be reversed? The answer is, it depends. In some cases, particularly with benzodiazepines or sleep medications, if use is stopped early and under medical guidance, there is hope for partial recovery. Many seniors have reported improved clarity, sharper thinking, and better memory once they discontinued these drugs, especially when the brain hadn't yet reached advanced stages of decline. The human brain is incredibly resilient when given the right conditions to heal. But if these medications have been taken for many months or years, especially in higher doses, the damage may become more permanent. Once cognitive decline has progressed into early dementia, stopping the drug might slow further deterioration, but may not restore lost function. That's why early recognition and action are critical. So what should you do now? First, review your current medications with your doctor. Go through each one and ask, is this still safe for my brain at my age? Second, consider safer alternatives, whether it's adjusting your lifestyle, improving sleep hygiene, managing pain through physical therapy, or exploring non-drug treatments for anxiety and depression. Nutrition, exercise, and mental stimulation can all play powerful roles in protecting, and even strengthening, brain health. Your brain is your most precious asset. Don't wait until confusion or memory loss becomes your new normal. The sooner you take action, the better your chances of staying sharp, independent, and in control of your health for years to come. The most dangerous part of medication-related brain decline is how quietly it begins. A little forgetfulness here, a foggy day there, it's easy to dismiss as just getting older. But sometimes, it's not aging at all. It's the hidden effects of medications that were never meant for long-term use. So before taking another pill, ask yourself and your doctor, is this still the safest option for my mind? Your brain deserves that question, and so do you. If this video opened your eyes, please like, share, and comment below, which medication surprised you the most? And don't forget to subscribe for more evidence-based, life-changing tips for senior health. Together, we can age wisely, stay sharp, and protect what matters most.